JumpStart BFR family, what is up? It's your boy Hassan finally on the podcast. They let me on live. Thank you so much, everyone. My name is Hassan. I do sales and marketing, and I do anything vocal for the company. We also have Coach Rich here, Mr. Chris Richardson. He does all of our programming, all of our protocols, our training. And today we have a special episode for you. How did Chris get involved in JumpStart?
How did I get involved with JumpStart?
I would say like get involved, or like what was the, hey, you know what, I'm going to do this. What was that moment for you?
Well,
let's, you know what, I'm sorry. Let's take us back. Take us back a little bit. How'd you get into coaching?
How'd I get into coaching?
Because you're kind of JumpStart's coach, right?
Yeah.
How'd you get in?
That's pretty good. I like that.
You're teaching us.
I like that. JumpStart's coach. But when it comes to JumpStart, I'm super excited because of the simple fact that, man, like as a coach, you can have a big impact. Yeah. But being involved with JumpStart is like, man, this could be a bigger impact on people's training and health journey. Yeah. Like globally, and which is pretty amazing because that was always been my passion. So that kind of takes me back, being a young coach, going into high school coaching. I just had fun with it. I was like, I'm kind of knowledgeable and I was into it. And I think I was insightful enough to care about the athlete's journey, even though for me personally, I didn't have a robust athletic background. Like I didn't do a whole bunch of youth sports. I didn't have a whole bunch of coaches and people like that. And so for me being an athlete and then getting into coaching was pretty cool, pretty interesting. And I realized that like, man, you garner a lot of respect and a lot of responsibility being a coach, because if you mess up, then this athlete's like goals for competition could directly be impacted by whether my lack of knowledge, my lack of like instruction, or like implementation and protection when it comes to like competition. And so I just kind of threw myself all into coaching. I mean, I got certifications. I made sure I went to every certification. I was getting yoga certifications. I was getting strength and conditioning certifications before they were cool, right? When they were just, long and boring and expensive. And so for me, getting involved with coaching, I really just want to make sure I immerse myself and made sure I was like a Swiss Army knife coach. I made sure that whether it was like sports massage and getting involved with like active release therapy, understanding all the latest and greatest trends when it comes to the use of technology for coaching. So that's kind of started my coaching. You mentioned something though, and I kind of want to so for the audience that either has trained under you or has done some type of work with you before in the past or right now, I think the one thing that separates you, which I see in JumpStart, is you're a coach that cares, right? Where did that come from? Is that just like for instance, coaches, Swiss Army knife, they have all the tools, they have all the certifications, but when it comes to like the actual coaching part, really caring about what the athlete's doing, like where did that come from? Was that just like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna do it different because I didn't have it like that for me, and now I'm gonna do it for others? No, I would actually say it came from messing up as a coach. There were times where I knew, I was like, man, I wish I was better. I wish I could have done something. I wish I could have been more for my athlete. And I watch how, whether it was lack from me and realize that like how big of an impact and, how I can navigate and circumvent, mishaps and in the direction of somebody's career in life. So that's for me, that's a big thing for me. That's what really allows me to do it. And it's not like there was some light bulb or anything. It's just really seeing a day to day, because coaching is stressful. Anybody I ask like, oh, I want to get into coaching, I'm like, oh, you might want to think twice because it's not lucrative. Like I'm not going to be a millionaire for sure coaching. But at the same time, like when it comes to the time you put in and what you get out of it, like monetarily wise, doesn't always equal up, but it's just so rewarding. It's so rewarding to see somebody reach their goals and like be better than they thought they could be. And like it's amazing. So
not only coaching, but you are an educator for USATF, right? What does that mean for the people that don't know? What do you do exactly for USATF? What does that encompass?
So USATF is United States of America Track and Field. Okay. And that is the governing body, the national governing body for the U.S. Olympic Committee. So that governs anything track and field when it comes to our country. And with that being said, there's like a high performance division. So I was a product of USA Track and Field and its coaches education sector. it allowed me to meet some amazing coaches and mentors. It allowed me to get access to some incredible, insight, knowledge, and the latest and greatest to like the trackside therapy and recovery modalities and everything. So what track and field, our USA Track and Field is just pretty much the all-encompassing governing body for the Olympic Committee in the United States. And so with Coaches Ed, it has, different levels of coaching certifications and offers a variety of other like coaching and professional development opportunities.
Gotcha. Now I'm asking these questions because I'm going to reel it back. So I know we started, how'd you get involved in JumpStart? Yeah. So I'll be honest, I called Rich and I said, hey, you know what? I think we should do this. And my reasoning behind that was what I just asked you. I knew you were an educator, and I knew you cared. And the biggest flaw I saw in the industry, number one, BFR changed my life. Like the way I train now, for how many injuries, I couldn't count how many injuries I had from 2013. Actually, 2012 is maybe when it started. But from 2012 to 2018, very tough. And I was like, man, for me, that was enough for me to say I'm gonna do this. But then when I saw that in the industry of BFR, there wasn't that the education was there, but it wasn't for people like me, people like an athlete, people like someone brand new to just working out. And Rich has been my coach on and off for a decade now, and I was like, you know what? If we brought this into JumpStart, this might change the game. So that was kind of my secret reasoning.
Awesome.
But I don't know. Did you, now that you're in it, do you feel like, I really think like you're like JumpStart's coach? That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
On the spot.
We're going to cut the coin that.
Yeah.
But for me, getting involved with JumpStart, once you called me, it kind of like, all right, I always use it for like, kind of that track hack, that biohack that an athlete needs a little bit of a tune-up or they need to recover and bounce back from an injury because they tweaked their hamstring or their ankle.
And by the way, we were doing BFR before we, almost like, I think before we knew it was BFR, but we just knew like the app, like what it could do. Yeah. Right? And now we're like, fast forward, we're like, oh, this is what we've been doing? Sick.
And that, it's funny, and I don't want to get too philosophical, but just thinking back, it's like, oh man, if I knew then what I know now, right?
Yeah.
And what's funny is because you wouldn't even know what to do with that information. That's what I think to myself. It's like, even if I did know that, I probably did, but I didn't have all the experiences and everything else to really allow me to appreciate the information and the knowledge at that time.
Like I legit remember we would take like a it was like those stretcher bands. Yeah. And like I don't know what I did. I think I pulled my hamstring or something, and you're like, hey, tie this, put it here, and now do your work. I was like, what the, like, but that was like a type of application of BFR, right? And now, like, dude, if we were doing this like 10 years ago, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
it'd be a different ballgame.
And that's what I love about JumpStart is how all-encompassing it is. It's going to be amazing to watch how many different people are going to be able to utilize this and take advantage of the amazing technology and science behind it.
So, talking about technology, science, what about the programming? So you are in charge of programming, protocols, training. Since you've done your research, why do you think it's important to follow some like a plan for BFR?
Yeah, I because it guides. I think it's the guiding force behind it, and it's because of the simple fact that I realize, as a coach and as a coach's coach, that you can have knowledge, but the application is like that like little missing puzzle piece that really paints the whole picture. Right. And with our membership site, that's why I think it's so critical for us to have that membership site, because that's that puzzle piece that could really make everything click.
For some people, it's like a small piece, right? So like even for me, like it's not like I'm trying to figure out big concepts. We kind of already know what we have to do. We need that little piece. So I think for us, like that membership, the whole hundreds of videos that are going to be coming out that are in the process of being made, like it's going to be that one puzzle piece you need to take yourself to the next level. I'm really excited about that. Tell me this, what do you think the future holds, not just for BFR, but for athletes or individuals that are using BFR?
Yeah, I think the athlete is just the longevity and putting them in a position to where they could use it, whether it's they're feeling healthy and great, whether they're traveling,
Yeah.
And if they're in a position where they happen to have a little, achy, hamstring or ankle, doesn't matter, where you can use it all through your year, all through your training cycle. So it's pretty cool that it's not just like a one-trick pony.
And I want to flip it on you again, like talking a little bit about hindsight, right? So let's say you knew about BFR when you were training. By the way, Chris used to be Chris is still an athlete. He has major dad strength. I know that for a fact, because the times that even I'm still training, and when I try to challenge him in doing things, I think we did like a football toss.
Oh yeah.
And I don't talk smack. I just like to I talk smack a lot and I lose. But what would be, maybe, do you think things would be different if you were using BFR back in the day?
Oh, 1,000%.
And kind of tell us what happened, what was your journey?
Well, I mean, for me, I thought...
I cut you one more time. Go on Google, type in Christopher Richardson.
Why would you?
Pick track and field, you'll see. The guy was a beast. Go ahead.
But anyways, I had my braids and everything. But for me... all my injuries came because I thought I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the strongest, I wasn't the quickest, I didn't have the best jumping ability. And I was like, you know what? But I'm crazier than everybody, and I'm just gonna out-train everybody.
You should have seen his face.
I'm gonna do kamikaze workouts, and I'm just gonna load up my max on the bench. No one else is in the gym, and I'm just gonna try to lift it and hope I don't die. I did that stuff.
Oh my God.
I just trained harder and harder, because it would obviously, if benching 300 pounds is good, benching 350 pounds is better, right?
Absolutely.
And so more was better. So I just beat my body to a pulp. I remember one night getting out of a night class and going to the shot put ring at Long Beach State, and I threw for 3 hours. Why? One, I already trained, lifted weights all that day.
Yeah.
And after dinner or after night class, I go and throw shot put. I just beat my body down.
Yeah.
And so all my injuries are just conditioning-based injuries.
And by the way, you saying you beating your body down, Chris has kids, and I feel like your kids are tanks. Like Callie, right?
Yeah.
I feel like she's just like an animal. So now if you think of that animal, but at 25, 26, and for you to say man, I was beating my body down, that's big. That means you actually you have I would say a higher tolerance than the average individual, right? So what, when that started happening, do you feel like if you knew what you knew now and you had BFR back then, would you?
I had some amazing help. I made sure I tried to involve I was smart enough to know that I didn't know everything.
Yeah.
So I tried to reach out and communicate and work with as many great minds. Luckily, I had an amazing coach, but I was just off the rails, I guess. Yeah. But this wasn't readily used, and if it was, I could have appreciated my active recovery days.
Yeah.
I could have trained through my rehab. I don't share this a lot, but I went through the Olympic trials, NCAA championships back in 2008 with a torn meniscus.
Yep.
I found out in January, and I decided not to get surgery because I didn't want to miss those meets.
Yeah.
So I trained and competed all year. Didn't miss a meet.
Wow.
With a torn meniscus, and just dealt with it and just tried to do what I could. But now knowing that, I could have done people are doing PRP and trying to replace platelets and things like that, and trying to stem cell things. This is a biohack of that.
Yeah.
And I could have really just, I think, expanded my career, and really, I don't even think I came close to my potential.
Yeah.
But I could have really taken it to. But I'm not resentful at all.
Yeah. Never know.
I'm not resentful.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to being able to use it for my future athletes and so on.
Now I think by the way, 2008, I remember sitting in front of, we don't have any TVs in our house anymore, but I remember sitting, my mom was there for sure. And I said, hey, my coach is, he's doing the Olympic trials. And the only event it showed was the 1500. And if you remember, I think you were limping through the 1500.
It was rough.
It was rough.
Yeah.
And I think I talked to you after I spoke to Coach Josh, and he's like, yeah, man. He's like, I think I don't think I knew how bad your injury was at that time, or that you even had one. But you finished it.
Yeah.
Right. So
no cortisone. Cool. I didn't even think about it. I could have got cortisone.
Let's not talk about cortisone.
Yeah, but my knee was the size of a circus grapefruit.
But think about that. Through those experiences, right? So grateful. If you didn't have that, all that came into what JumpStart is now.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? All the stuff that we went through, you never know this. You still might get injured, but there's a better way now. And I think like all that experience, what you've gone through, injuries, ups and downs in your own training. You've been an athlete yourself. You coach. You see both sides of it. And now we're giving it to the athletes. We're giving it to the people that are just starting their. Think about you're a brand new person in working out, right? You're like, man, who's gonna help me? You're starting out with an all-star, right? Like if you start a JumpStart program, you're not starting from like it's not like, dude, we have decades of experience, right? So I'm really excited about that. I wanted everyone to kind of know why you're on board, and why. Where am I going with this? Why you're on board, and what it would mean for them if they got on board, and what it'd be like to be your athlete, your JumpStart athlete, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
So
that's a good little spin on it. And I'm super excited, just the simple fact that watching you grow as a young man, and I remember when you were a knucklehead running around, and when it comes to like flourishing into understanding like the business, because I don't know nothing about the business side and things like that. So like, and I think that's like the perfect marriage.
He's playing himself down.
For all of us to come in for this, like it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I don't think people are gonna be let down. Like that's not in my nature. My goal is to win at everything I do and be the absolute best. And so JumpStart's no different. And
this podcast isn't for educating. I'm sorry, it's not for selling, but it's for like, we want to educate, entertain. And one of the reasons we're so like, how do I say it, convinced about BFR is we've already gone through it ourselves. And if we could help you now instead of later, like, just do it now. Like, if you need more, or if you're still on the fence, go back to another podcast and see what it could do. I think Omer on the other podcast said, like, it's not just about, like, it's like better health choices, right? Like, this is more than just BFR. This is like becoming a better person as well. So we would love if you guys got on that journey with us. And I don't really have too much other to say.
We're good.
So guys, we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about Chris. Maybe we do another origin story with maybe Omer, maybe with myself. I don't know. My mom can't listen to mine though, because I'm getting in a lot of trouble.
She's not gonna listen.
Should I listen? All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. See ya.